now that the lighting is up.
Well, it's on me.
Perfect.
It's the ring light.
That's where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I have a face for radio, bro.
All right. So good morning, spreaders. This is Rob sitting here with Scott Scooter Yoak, and he flies a really awesome airplane. We're just going to sit here and talk with him a little bit about where he got started and some of the fun things that he gets to do in the airshow world. Normally, I think when with Scott, he's got a podcast himself, and there's a different beverage of choice during that time, but that's for later in the day.
That's right.
This is early morning. This is first thing.
A little early for some Monkey in Paradise vodka.
A little bit.
A little early.
But Scott, it's good to see you, brother.
Always good seeing you, Rob.
Good to be here at Sun and Fun 2019. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you got started.
Oh man! All right. Well, I'm just another face in the crowd, but I've got a lucky streak, for the lack of words. I was born into a family that had the ability to restore P-51s and Warbirds, so I grew up in a shop, a restoration shop, if you will.
Wow.
And just about any piston-driven Warbird you can think of. Some turbine stuff, but mostly piston. All the headline fighters, Mustang, Corsair, Bearcat, Hellcat, P-38, trainers, T-28, T-34, any of that kind of stuff is in our...
It's quite the list, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, growing up as a kid, I thought that was the norm.
There's avgas in your blood at that point.
Pretty much. It's in your DNA. You're not getting it out, you know. So, so I grew up around that and networked and worked in the shop as slave labor as a kid. I think there's child labor laws against that.
I don't think it applies to your own children, though. I don't know about that.
Yeah, we'll have to get a lawyer.
It's a gray area.
Yeah, it's all right.
I read the FAR-AIM. I don't read the child labor. So that's a great way to get into it, to get started. And we did a feature on you last year at Sun and Fun. Well, it was here. And we talked about your airplane, the P-51 Mustang Quicksilver.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that airplane and what makes it special.
So, all P-51s are beautiful, right? They really, really are. We wanted to take this airplane to kind of the next level and make it a little twist of modern, but with all the heart and history of the regular P-51s. It is a real P-51. It is fully restored. Every external skin on it except for two has been replaced. It's all new metal on the outside. It's all the same aircraft on the inside, or original aircraft on the inside.
Wow.
Some safety features, some system safety features to make the airplanes. I mean, these airplanes were war effort, thoroughly built, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we're not shooting people down and breaking stuff anymore. So the airplanes need to be more adapted to the National Airspace System and all this other kind of stuff. So we're just like, buddy, how are you?
Good, man.
Welcome.
Having a good week?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Cool.
doing good. So, anyways, we're in the National Airspace System, and so we updated radios in it. Obviously, people are like, "Oh, I want to see an original panel." Well, dude, you don't have to fly behind it. It is one of the most poorly designed panels of all time. And I don't want to fly in an airplane with tube radios in the same compartment as a gas tank. So I'll drop a 530 in there and be just fine. But anyway, so she was a 15-year restoration between my father and myself.
Wow.
We were restoring other airplanes in between, or helping restorations. We mostly did sub-assemblies in our shop. So we did flight controls, we did cowlings, we did not really full airplanes, but we would build the accessories or the post-production stuff for a lot of the aircraft, for a lot of the larger restorations. We were involved heavily in Glacier Girl, the P-38 that was dug out of the ice. We did a lot of its compound form metal work, which is our specialty. We do cowlings, fillets, a lot of the stretch forming, if you will, for the stuff, and it's all handmade. It's
Shaping of metal, yeah.
Bending and shaping of metal. That's what we do, and it's really unique niche. Like, somebody asks, like, how do you learn that? You grow up in a shop is what you do. There's really no class for it.
No, you've got to do that. I've practiced some body work on cars, and you get a door from the junkyard, you pound it with a hammer, you fix it, make it smooth, you hit it again with a hammer. You just keep doing that until you've mastered that crap.
Aluminum, you can't do that. That's the issue.
Yeah.
With mild steel, you can get away with that. Mm-hmm. But anyways, back to my airplane. I digress. I'm a little ADD. So, our airplane took 15 years because our airplane wasn't a complete project. And so while we're going around the world buying up parts lots of these aircraft, we had a whole bunch of stuff left over.
Wow.
And we acquired the paperwork and data tag and parts of a wreck, and we built the aircraft around not a data tag, but around parts of a wreck.
Wow.
Yes, it had the data tag on it. Yes, it had actually...
Sorry, the Navy is interrupting. That's very rude of them.
Yeah. So anyways,
Sign of freedom.
Exactly. But anyways, we built the airplane around parts on a data tag. It's by no means a data tag restoration, but the rest of the airplane is from all over the world.
Cool.
You have a wing from one place, another wing from another, and that just shows you the interchangeability of these aircraft. My airplane is one of the straightest flying aircraft I've ever flown.
Yeah.
And that's not bragging on it or any of that kind of stuff. It just shows you the ingenuity and the workmanship of North American aviation back in the 40s.
Yeah, that you had part commonality. You could take pieces, parts, put them on different airplanes and have it work.
You can't do that with any of the British-built aircraft. You can't do that with Spitfire. You can't do it with even a lot of the German stuff. That's all hand drilled and handmade.
Yeah.
So
the holes don't line up from one airplane to the next.
Nope.
So, hey, speaking of different aircraft, you fly a very special formation flight called the Class of 45.
I do. So myself and Jim Tobel with Korean War Hero Corsair both base our aircraft in the South Carolina vicinity. And we do a lot of the same shows together. And in 2013, we decided to get together, and we're like, oh, it is very rare to see the two headline fighters, arguably the two most well-known, I should say, fighters of the Second World War, flying next to each other in an airspace. Now we're going to turn it into a dynamic formation flight where it's not just straight and level passes. It's a lot of the arcing stuff and a lot of the switchover brakes and opposing passes and that kind of stuff. And to fly with the Corsair is really cool.
Oh, wow.
Right off your wing, you look off and see that big 13-foot Hamilton standard propeller out there swinging, and R2800 on the front of it. It's neat to see a little bent wing bird out there.
Can you hear him next to you during the flight at any time?
I can feel him.
You can feel him.
So the bow wave off of a Corsair is massive. When I say bow wave, it's just like what we talk about with a ship.
Yep.
And when he goes underneath me for the slot pass, he's forward. He actually lifts my tail.
Wow.
Yeah. So the airplane is just this massive honking. 51 doesn't have that. Its frontal area is almost 2/3 less than the Corsair. If you
It's
look at
sleek,
the frontal
yeah.
area, very much so. Corsair is just raw horsepower. That's a 2,600 horsepower. His is like 2,600, something like that, horsepower. R2800 on the front of that, and I've only got 1,700, and we are speed for speed matched.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you. That's just.
Does he fly off of you because he has a horsepower advantage and he can close distance, or is there any kind of consideration for that, or was it
Not
just
really? I mean, I'll be honest with you. If anything, the Merlin would be more suited for formation work or wing work because it's okay for rapid throttle advancement. Not just say rapid, but I should say like the type of throttle advancements and reductions that we do to keep in station keeping. Round engine, you can get into an overboost or an underboost situation. And I mean, arguably you can with the Merlin, but man, it's a hardy thing. There's no cylinders in my airplane. It's a bank of cylinders. It's a bank of cylinders. It's just
V12 versus a radial?
That's right. So the engine is designed by Rolls-Royce and built under license by the Packard Motor Car Company. So it is an American-built Packard Merlin. People call it a Rolls-Royce because that's who owned the licenses to it. But the differences between a Packard and a Rolls-Royce are night and day.
Yeah.
They're you get 5 times the life out of a Packard you will a Rolls-Royce. I mean, a Rolls-Royce you're overhauling at 250 or 300 hours.
Oh wow.
We can go well around the 1,000 and 1,200 hour period, no problem with a Packard.
About how long does that take you? In days, months?
Oh man. Well, I put about 220 hours a year on my airplane.
Okay, so you got a couple years. You got five or
Yeah,
so
we're
years.
gonna exchange the motor out of mine. I have a spare that is being overhauled at Vintage V12s in Tehachapi, California, and I will I do a lot of my own work, but when it comes to open heart surgery, I call it, like the massive stuff like that, I let the pros do it.
Let the experts.
And Jose Flores up there at Vintage V12s is. That guy knows his stuff, man.
Yeah.
That guy really knows his stuff.
And he's not the only one working on motors. Doesn't Jack Roush have a
Jack
shop?
Roush has a shop, and it's another wonderful place up in Ypsilanti, Michigan. His facility is world class, and he builds a great motor as well.
I have an idea that just popped in my head while we were sitting here. You guys do the Class of 45 where you're flying 2 American airplanes. It'd be neat to see a 109 and a 0, and you guys break and go fight those guys a little mock dogfight. We'll have to probably talk to Kermit Weeks about that because I don't know which.
There's a lack of measurements here.
Yeah, it's a little tough to find.
But and having the ability to work on all these things, I can tell you how much. everybody talks about German ingenuity, and I've built parts for Focke-Wulfs. I've made parts for Messerschmitts. I've seen their construction. I've seen how they're built. Everybody always talks about the German precision. I'm here to tell you, they didn't build an airplane worth of crap compared to us. and I mean, people can argue that all day long. Oh, the armament, this and that, and all that kind of stuff. Well, look at the scoreboard.
Yeah.
All right. The Mustang shot down more airplanes than the other Allied fighter of all time.
And they were more experienced pilots because they've been fighting a war already for 4 or 5 years.
The Germans had been. They don't rotate out. We would rotate out every 20 to 50 missions.
Yeah.
So, if you look at the internal workings of the Mustang versus a Focke-Wulf 190, the Focke-Wulf is very, very well built from like the cockpit forward. The wings and all that stuff is very. The engine is trash. The BMW motors is trash. Wow. But the tail, I don't know how it stays on. I don't know. I mean, like literally, your GoPro mount's stronger than that tail. It's literally, it's not anything that would ever be acceptable in American inventory.
But it works for the Germans, so they kept it.
And the Messerschmitt, I understand, the Messerschmitt 109 was the workhorse, if you will, for the Luftwaffe. Yeah. And you got trash visibility out of it. You got decreasing. I mean, the fuel grade was less, but the aircraft itself, the 109 was a good airplane. The problem with it is when a third of your losses are takeoff and landing accidents. That's a problem. That says something. That gear. It's too tight. That wheelbase is like this rocking chair, man. Yeah. I mean, it's a good friend of mine that flies a Messerschmitt, Rick Volker, will often say that his crosswind limit is 1 gusting to 2. He was like, there is no crosswind limit on the airplane. He said if it is not perfectly down the runway, he's like, I will not fly it. Wow. He's like, you run out of rudder, you run out of brake, you run out of everything. That's amazing. So once again, poorly designed. Yeah. I was actually surprised. I'd not seen one in person until I went to the EAA Oshkosh, and they had that one hanging in the ceiling. Yeah. And they're really, and you look at them and you're like, oh, it's a really well-built airplane. Well, the interior of it is actually, they wanted them light. Yeah. So they left a lot of structure out of them.
No armament?
I want to say
I mean, like armor
their
for the
firepower was yeah. I don't want to be on the business end of the BF-109.
No. I just meant like protection for the pilot, around the pilot.
Yeah.
The thing that surprised me about it was its size, how much smaller it was than the P-51.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't much bigger than the extra 300. It's like, that's interesting.
I mean, it is, but when you look at it, you're like, this is a fighter?
Yeah. Oh, 1,200 horsepower on that little tiny thing. Okay.
And the Daimler-Benz motor is actually a very good motor. That inverted 12 is for an inverted 12, it's a heck of a design.
Yeah. You don't see that very often in an inverted V.
Sure don't.
Wow. Cool. So we have the XP-82 here, which is a very unique airplane, and cool. I'll shoot a little bit of video a little bit later about it. Are you multi-engine rated?
I am.
Do you think you could get into that, or would there be an opportunity?
I'd love to have a crack at it. My father and I built some parts for the XP-82 back when he was still alive. Project, we did some cowling work for him, and it's good seeing the parts here, good seeing the product here. But yeah, it's I'd love to crack at 2 Merlins.
Absolutely. All right, so you asked this question of everybody that comes on your podcast. I don't know if anybody's ever asked it of you, and you already fly a very legendary airplane, but if there was one airplane that you could fly, what are your criteria for this? Give it to me.
So on my podcast we asked, okay, so you can fly any airplane in history. Okay, infrastructure and logistics aside, doesn't matter. You want to fly the flipping space shuttle, we're gonna pull one out and we're gonna make it airworthy and you're gonna go fly it. All right? You can fly one airplane from history. But there's a caveat. At the end of flying said aircraft, you have to surrender your certificates, and you can never pilot. You can never be the sole manipulator. You can't even fly first class in an airliner because
too close to the cockpit.
Too close to the cockpit. So I mean, like it would be the last flight you would ever take as piloting command. What would it be?
So what is your answer, Scott?
X-15.
X-15.
Absolutely.
You want to go fast.
I want to go as fast as I can. I want to get launched. First off, I want to get them. I want to see them. It's kind of a dick move, but I want to see them outfit that B-52 that's still out. It's still out there. Still out at Edwards. The NB-52. It's still out there. I want them to outfit that. I want them to take 972 down off the ledge of the National Air Space Museum.
Yeah.
Crank that thing up, put it on the side, and I want to go for Mach 7. I'm just gonna put my foot on the throttle and hold it, baby. That's what I'm gonna do. So
Keep it wide
I
open,
understand
baby.
the whole like air pressure thing, and screw that. But we're gonna go as fast as we can.
Yeah,
So,
you're done anyway. So
that's right.
Go out with.
Go out with style.
Yeah, that's excellent.
What about you?
Oh, F4 Phantom. That's the
Really?
airplane that I fell
You're
in
the
love
only
with.
person that's ever said that.
Well, it's good to be unique, I guess.
Not even Phantom drivers said that.
I fell in love with it. My dad was a computer programmer.
Okay.
And he got me into flying because we always had computers and we had a flight sim. And the first flight sim I remember was Chuck Yeager's flight sim, and it had a whole
I had
bunch.
it.
Yeah,
I had
you remember
it.
from EA.
Yeah.
His second version was Chuck Yeager's Air Combat.
Actually, that's the one I had. Was Chuck Yeager's Air Combat.
Yep, you had the P-51, you F-86,
F4.
and
You
F4 Phantom.
You can fly the Focke-Wulf. You can fly
Yep.
the MiG-15. You can fly the MiG-21.
Absolutely, and I fell in love with the F4. I thought it was the absolute bee's knees, and
I was the bomb. I used to put it on unlimited ammo and just like shoot nothing but sidewinders at everybody. Yeah.
the Sparrows, you'd switch targets and they'd go chink, 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 chink between what you were switching to. I loved that game, but I'd never seen one flying in person. I don't know. I think I'm a little younger. I'm 35. I don't know.
I'm 34.
Oh,
I'm
older.
I'll be 35 at just after Oshkosh.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Well, I'll say it again there. But I was at Tyndall Air Force Base I was in ROTC in college, and we were looking at a static model of an F-15 sitting in a hangar out on the flight line. I'm like, nah, F-15, I've seen this.
Nah.
Okay, whatever. I've started walking back towards the bus, and I'm outside. I'm in between two hangars, and I can see about 100 yards of the runway. It's a strange angle, and I feel this vibration,
Two
this
J79s.
rumble, and I went, "What is that?" And I turned towards this gap, and here comes a QF4 painted up with the orange tail and wingtips.
Getting ready to go be blown up.
He is in full burner, gears up. He's on the deck, just screaming, ripping by, and I'm doing like my happy dance as this thing goes by, pulls to the vertical, rolls onto the heading, pulls out, and I'm out there screaming. Everybody's in the hangar staring at me like I'm, getting stung by fire ants, and here comes another one, and I'm just in absolute heaven. They went out as a flight of two.
That's cool, man.
And that's the
good old
coolest thing.
Phantom, the mighty Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
I should say.
So many, the fabulous Phantom.
Fabulous Phantom with a PH.
But yeah, if I could fly one of those, I would happly
I
surrender.
dig it. Well, I will tell you that there's only one other person besides my father and I that flew Quicksilver, and it's the late Vlad Olenek, who was a heritage pilot. In Dayton, 2012, we did the first public heritage flight with two Phantoms.
Wow.
So the only time Quicksilver was ever in the heritage flight was when Vlad Olenek flew at Dayton, Ohio, 2012. We had two Phantoms on the wing on Saturday. Sunday we were gonna do the same thing, but one of them broke. Go figure.
Well, Phantoms.
And that's what Phantoms do. They just land and break. And so that was really cool to see. And one of the guys was out of Holloman, one of the guys was out of Tyndall. And it was really cool to see two Phantoms, and they are massive.
Yeah.
When you see a Corsair next to a Mustang, you see how much bigger the Corsair is.
Yep.
Then when you see a Phantom next to it, you're like, oh, look at the little airplane. That's so nice.
When's the next time you fly?
I fly Saturday here at Sun and Fun.
Very good.
During the day, and then Sunday I head home to South Carolina, and I've got 2 weekends off, and I'm so happy. I've got to do a 25-hour on the airplane.
Yeah.
So, this is my third show of the season, and we've been flying it around. We've been flying a ton this year, so I'm gonna take it home, do a 25-hour, and
Very good.
I gotta change the oil and clean the plugs.
All the preventative maintenance things that keep it flying.
So I mean, one of the keys to my success with the aircraft has been being the maintainer and a guy that helped build it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the IA for the aircraft, and as well as other 51s, I can do all the maintenance on my aircraft, and which keeps my cost way down. Because maintenance is by far, gas is the cheapest part about owning a Mustang.
Wow.
In cruise, we flight plan for between 65 and 70 gallons an hour. That's our essentially go-to. But it's the cheapest part about owning a Mustang. Parts are just so darn expensive. And you get to brakes, you get to spark plugs. I mean, it's $4,000 for a spark plug change. You got to do that every 250 to 300 hours. Tires, I mean, tires is highway robbery for us. I mean, it is what it is. Now, granted, if you're bitching about prices, people say, if you own a Mustang, you should bitch about prices. Well, dude, I didn't buy it. All right, I didn't buy this thing. We restored it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad that you're putting in the time, the effort, the money. The V-22 is making a whole lot of racket out there.
Yeah, the Marines are just really screwing it up for us this morning. The Navy and the Marine Corps. And
we came to an air show and we wanted silence.
I want quiet at this airport.
I bought this house here, and you're making too much noise. Oh wait, that's a different. Never mind.
That's foul. That was off limits. Yeah.
But anyway, well, Scott, thank you very much for taking the time. Thank you very much for sharing your aircraft and keeping the memory of you and your father's work and the men and women that built this airplane and fought for this country. And one last thing about the airplane. I know this is a very special thing about the airplane. Can you just give us a brief rundown on the paint?
Absolutely. So when my father and I restored the airplane, we didn't want to do one squadron with one pilot with one crew. We wanted to celebrate everybody. Mm-hmm. And it's not just from the Second World War. We wanted my father and I never served. So this is our way of giving back. This is our way of saying thanks to those that have laid the ultimate sacrifice upon the altar of freedom.
Yeah.
Okay. And my aircraft paint job, every marking on it stands for something. Everybody's like, well, it's not historically accurate. It's post-war insignia with D-Day invasion stripes. You know what? If I had a basket full of screws, I still wouldn't care. You know, I mean, seriously, I don't care because it means something. If you read about the aircraft, we polish the airplane because you can look into the polish and you can see the individual that our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines are fighting for. That person that's looking into that's who they're fighting for. Our black paint is very, very unique. My father came up with the formula to put little blue specks in the black. You won't see it unless you just come out. It's very subtle. We say there's one blue speck in there for every veteran that served this great country.
Wow.
If you look at the cape, which is the style of the black paint on the nose, it represents the veil of protection that our armed forces give us. If you look at the front of the aircraft, the spinner backplate, people call it the afterbody backplate, whatever you want to call it, is polished. It's a ring. It's a halo. It represents the halo of the guardian angel that takes the fallen soldier to their final resting place.
Wow.
The D-Day stripes are on it because D-Day invasion is the one campaign that really catapulted the 51 into a legendary status, covering aircraft. You know that Dwight D. Eisenhower actually, in a modified two-seat Mustang called Excalibur, witnessed a lot of the D-Day landings from the backseat of a Mustang.
I did not know that.
So D-Day was very crucial to the 51. It has post-war insignia on it because my airplane was never part of the Army Air Corps.
Right.
It was built July 28th, 1945, and stayed in a holding yard in Dallas, Texas. It was built in Dallas. Stayed in a holding yard in Dallas for 2 years until the Air Force became, because they didn't have a need for it.
Right.
They knew that
the war was over?
Well, the Pacific War was winding down. Mm-hmm. They were like, look, we're going to hold off because if we do this whole invasion of the mainland thing, yes, we will need more fighters. If not,
right,
just hold it. Just hold up. So stayed in the holding yard for 2 years. When the Air Guard came around, it was part of the Air Force. It went to the New Mexico and later the Minnesota Air Guard. We have recently found out it's part of the Twin Cities fighter unit up there, and came out of inventory in 1957. So that's why it has a post-war insignia on it.
Wow, that's excellent. So
you can read more about it at quicksilvermustang.com. I'm missing a lot of it, but that is the Reader's Digest version of it.
Absolutely, that's the quick and dirty.
That's right.
Well, Scooter, thank you very much for your time today, brother.
It's a pleasure. You guys want to hear more about it? airpowerpodcast.com. We're also on iTunes. I almost said YouTube. We're on iTunes and Google Play, Pocket Cast, any of your other providers. But mainly, you can't find it on your podcast provider. airpowerpodcast.com.
And your Instagram
is Quicksilver P-51.
Perfect.
Just all one word, Quicksilver P-51.
Excellent. Well, Scott, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Always a pleasure seeing you, my friend.
Take care. Thanks, spreaders, for joining us. We'll have more from Sun and Fun 2019 in a little bit.